Let's see who we got. Who we got? The fake world of broke rappers. Ain't that right? Let's see what they talking about.
I don't want to be a regular rapper. You know why? Because these regular rappers be broke. The industry is capped. This shit is not real, bro.
I remember when he said this, nigga kept going back and forth. He ain't know what he want to do. Nigga want to stop doing YouTube to be a full rapper. Then he did that and saw rappers don't make no fucking money. Nigga like, man, I made way more money doing YouTube. Like, I thought he was going to go back. He did.
50-50, we going to have him out.
Oh, you in at 360?
I don't know.
I remember when Yachty said that. He didn't even know back then. I'm pretty sure he knows now.
Have been the center of ambiguity and confusion
he know
for
now.
30 years. How do rappers still not know what's going on with their business? We see it every day. As soon as they get the deal, the first thing they do is
like
get the
they don't be trying to know. It's like they just get that money. As soon as you get that first check, you go spend it on something stupid. I'm accustomed to that too. You go buy some jewelry, a car. You go get your mom a house, some shit like that, and then you don't realize taxes, and then taxes come bite you in the ass, and then now you gotta go make some more money. Then you learn a little bit, but then you still don't, you know what I'm saying? They still ain't teaching you the game, but you're supposed to learn as you go.
For starter kit. Why is rap the only art form that idolizes being a customer?
I mean, like big 40,
Look how many tags, 20 tags already.
Great customer.
Yeah, niggas been icebox like it's nothing. Nigga, if you throw 10,000, 100,000 in a strip club, nigga, you fucking stupid. You should feel stupid when you go home.
Great customer.
We're at 52,000 right now. Alright, so it'll be 52,000 flat.
Alright. You can maybe do 50? I brought 100, I'm trying to leave it 50, for real.
Great customer. And on the other hand, people like Lil Baby actually can't afford these types of expenses. But this is where it starts. First is the chain, rented vehicle, Airbnb, and random IG model looking for a quick buck.
No, that was crazy right there. That's the first time we let people perform. You lost something, bro.
Nigga, bezel came off on a red cup.
You
lost the bezel to the roll.
Almost lost the bezel.
They screwed that bitch back on like it wasn't nothing. No, it came back off. I was about to say, nigga, screwed that bitch back on like it ain't nothing.
I'm asking the question. I don't know what the hell it is, so.
Oh, yeah. So basically, I was traveling to New York, right? And I was on a commercial flight. So I saw a picture that I liked. It was my mood picture, so I posted it. I put travel day. So someone's on the plane, they take a picture of me, right? And says, well, that's kind of odd. How is he flying private when he's right here in front of me?
Touch my shit, Jimmy. Touch my shit.
Are you ready?
I didn't know if this was scripted or not. So I think
Hold on, you're not getting on the stone.
Oh, okay. I'm getting on the stone, bro.
But Jay-Z summed it up with this line. But apparently nobody heard him. But wait a minute, we getting ahead of our...
Another thing, niggas be spending all that money, bitch. You better have some money put aside for the lawyer.
The truth is, most of this is not even these rappers' fault. These dudes are really just doing what they've seen their idols do. But their idols eventually outgrow the nonsense and back away from it. Look at Jay's 444 album.
They get older,
you wanna know what's more important than throwing away money at a strip club? Credit.
And he was the main dude pushing the idea of jewelry, fast cars, and spending big dough. Hip-hop's competitive nature set the wrong tone for the new generation, but the fans love it. And therein lies the birth of the fake world of broke rapper lifestyle. And it's interesting because I never think of rappers as victims, but they are. Let's look at how a record contract really breaks down to really understand how broke rappers actually are.
Your single was 99 cents, mine was $4.
This is an incredibly slept on Jay-Z line, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because it illustrates how far apart good rap business is from bad rap business. And this new generation is almost exclusively bad rap business. So when Jay dropped this line, he was in a joint venture with Def Jam, which usually means somewhere around a 50-50 split. If the single was $4, that means $2 to Rockefeller, $2 to Def Jam. Jay is an executive and an artist, so he gets paid twice on this single. The average artist gets roughly 10%, but since Jay was the boss, he probably paid himself around 25%. 25% of $2 is 50 cents. That leaves $1.50 to be split between Jay, Dame, and Biggs, 50 cents each. So let's assume Jay was getting $1 to his bottom line per single sold. So let's put up the scoreboard. Jay, $1 per single. Now let's look at the new generation. Remember, the new generation is only 99 cents, and the average new artist deal would be about 10%, which would leave them with about 10 cents per record sold. So with about 1 million records sold, Jay would have made about $1 million.
But like somebody else broke it down to me, like, why would I go buy your single off of iTunes when I know I can get it for free off these other sites? Cause niggas do the DistroKid, they put that bitch on every site for free. But then you want somebody to go buy your single off of iTunes for however much it is on iTunes when I could go get it for free off of Spotify, off of the YouTube, off of all these other apps. Why would I go buy your album? It don't make no sense. You really got to be a real fan and just want to support for a nigga to do that.
$1, while the average artist would have made about 100,000. But let's not forget, that average artist took an advance, and that advance was probably $250,000. And this is how you can have an artist with a platinum single and still be in debt to the label. And the mechanics of how an album works are even worse, but we'll save that for another video. So when you see artists throwing money and copping jewelry, usually that's the money they got from the label to make the album. It's all a big contradiction, because so many artists say they use rap and sell drugs to escape the hood and take care of their families just to get rich and blow it all on bullshit. Look at this list. You're gonna see some legends on this list. This is just a list of artists that have had to fight their way out of a bad contract at some point in their career. And many times that bad contract was during the time that they were at the height of their sales. So they didn't even profit from the best years of their artistry. A lot of times they've had to find other ways creatively to make money post
how they making money now.
The height of their success.
Most usually
so then I think about like a new artist who signs a deal, gets an advance, doesn't manage it right, is in a bad contract, then they get on the internet and flex, and now they have an image to uphold. So the next thing you know, they robbing the next man to try to keep the image up to hopefully sell records to get the money that they already got that they should have managed better. You get what I'm saying?
I think a lot of mistakes that get made is what you just said, right? You got an advance from a major, and maybe you didn't spend it in the smartest way.
Man, I went splurging.
And a lot of people don't realize, like, you know, you get that advance and your music has to make that much money back times whatever your terms are.
Otherwise the conversations get dry. And
also otherwise you're
in the red.
You're not gonna see any money off your music.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's your big nut, and you got to kind of make that shit stretch. You know what I'm saying? For, you know, young independent artists watching this, what would be some advice you'd give them as far as
you'll have to really go on shows and go on the road and do shit like that to make your money?
Taking the advance, or
I mean, I would say, like, with the advance, invest it like straight back in yourself. Pay some bills, but invest it straight back into the business. Because at the end of the day, if the music not going and you ain't got nothing cracking in the people's face and marketing and going, like, what that advance mean? Like, you got a chain and some money and some,
So why are rappers so pressed for clout? What is it that makes these artists feel like they have to sacrifice their financial well-being and the future of their careers just to look good today? I mean, the pressure from this type of situation is unbearable. Remember when Lil Wayne was having seizures on flights because he was ODing on drugs? Why you think these dudes are over-medicating themselves in these situations? It's the pressure from the spotlight, the finances, and what they have to do and who they have to be to please the fans and meet all of their financial obligations as artists. I mean, just look at how many rappers
that shit about Polo G. Like, that nigga used to be in Icebox every week buying big-ass chains and all these calls, and now he's slowed up and ain't been dropping no music or been doing shit for like years. So I'm like, how is this nigga still making money? If he's still making money, I bet he regret all that, buying all that dumb shit.
Been exposed for wearing straight up fake jewelry. Or look how many artists have been exposed for trying to look richer than they actually are. I say it like this: shout out to any of the managers, lawyers, labels, or individuals that are trying to hold these artists accountable, teach them some level of fight.
That was shorter than I thought. How Spotify still billions from all this do-they?
They just sent me some shit from Spotify where I got 1 billion streams, right? My publisher hit me. I said, break that down. How much money is that? That shit wasn't even $45,000.
The digital streaming game is a complex playground where the rich and powerful use sophisticated vehicles to steal money from the less fortunate. Take streaming payouts, for example. If a song is streamed 1 million times, and let's use some of the biggest artists in the world with the best deals, like 21 Savage, Drake, or Kendrick Lamar. On Spotify, a song that was streamed 1 million times might generate somewhere between $2,500
got the cash money or the no limit deal, but he got a good deal.
And $4,000. In this example, if we say you got $4,000 and you're one of the superstar artists with some of the best deals on the market, you'd walk away with about $1,800. But if you're one of these regular artists, you'd be in the hole at that point. And that doesn't count what you've received as an advance or what you've paid guest appearances or superstar producers to work on your behalf.
So imagine if you did content on YouTube and shit like that, you would make way more than that off a long-term content than a 2-minute song. So you only make it $1,300 because it's like it's short-term content. But if you make some long content, fucking 10-minute videos, shit like that, you get paid more money.
See a clip like this from 21 Savage.
What's your take on streaming? I hear Snoop Dogg say, "Man, look here, man. Them streaming, you stream 1 billion, and man, you ain't really making no money." What's your thoughts on streaming?
I think it all depends on how your deal structured, cause it's some money in streaming.
It's much money in streaming.
It's just about like how your deal structured and how much you stream. They gotta be making money, cause they giving me money.
Right.
So it's some money in that shit, some real money in it.
You know he's one of the few artists that's making crazy money, but you also know that he really doesn't fully understand how the money is being made. The checks are just so big that he doesn't have to care. Most artists are more like Lil Yachty.
50-50, we gonna have a half.
Oh, you're in at 360?
I don't know.
No, don't tell me you don't know.
When you're signed to a major as an artist, they're able to negotiate better rates for you, so they can put you in position like 21 Savage, even though he's probably not getting what he's worth. Furthermore, these labels were there when Spotify launched. They took equity and have made billions from that equity and split very little with the artists. The streaming companies and the labels rob the artists. But in order for me to explain to you how they do this, I have to make sure you understand how the money is made in digital streaming. Streaming companies are supposed to make their money in 2 primary ways. The first is subscriptions. It's the most important, it's the lion's share of how money is made in digital streaming. Right now, Spotify is charging about $11.99 a month to subscribe, $16.99 for a family pack.
I don't know why niggas pay for Spotify. I use the free YouTube Music app. I ain't paying for no fucking subscription.
Pricing is structured is critical to artists, and I'll explain why later. And the second is revenue generated from selling advertisements. This includes product placement, brand deals, artist promotions, things that always existed even when CDs were prevalent, like end caps and in-store promotions. But it's different now because ad revenue made from these avenues is supposed to be split with the artist. But I'm gonna show you why it's not. Another thing to note is Spotify is not actually in the business of music. Spotify is in the business of technology. Although they make billions off music streams, they couldn't tell you what makes one song successful over the other, and they have no real investment in artist development outside of playlists and editorial picks. To make this simple, imagine I was
a song more successful than others. One song just sounds better. It hits you better. Like you feel it in your soul different.
Dealer, and I needed a law firm to represent me for a case. The law firm that I hire, I pay them for a service, but they are not in the business of dealing cars. They're in the business of law. They just provide a service to me. It's the same thing that Spotify does to musicians. They're not in the business of music. They just provide a platform for musicians to get their music heard. will.i.am described it like this. It's a very, very, very touchy subject that no one's talking about as far as technology killing the music. Actually, the music industry has been redefined using technology, leaving artists out of the equation. So the robbery takes place in at least 4 or 5 different ways. But the first is the pool model, where the streaming agencies take all of the money from subscriptions and ads, put it in a pool, divide it up. Let me explain how it's divided. The first person to get paid is Spotify themselves. They take 30% off the top without prejudice. The next on the list is the labels. The labels take about 50% of the remaining 70%, leaving about 35% for the artists and others. So you would think that 35% should go to the independent artists and independent labels that are on the platform, but it doesn't. The next in line are your rights.
You independent, Sony ain't getting nothing. That's if niggas be signing these fake ass deals.
It's publishers, publishing companies, and songwriters. This is about 15% of that total pie. And let's not forget performance rights organizations known as PROs, like ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC. Their job is to collect those funds and then distribute them to the publishers, and they take a fee for that, which is around 12%. This leaves about 20% for the pool, and that pool is divided amongst every artist on Spotify. And there are 8 million of them. So here's where the robbery really starts to kick in. With 8 million artists on the platform, there's no way to pay each artist fairly for their actual streams. No one would make any money. So artists are paid based on what percentage of the remaining pot they represent. So let me make this simple. Let's say in 2023, I had 1 million streams, and that 1 million streams accounted for 10% of this total pot. And let's say the pot was $1,000. That would yield me $100 for my 1 million streams. Now remember, the total pot is not based on streams. It's based on subscription sales and ad revenue generated by the efforts of Spotify. So let's say in 2024, Spotify had a bad year. Bad press, lost a lot of subscribers, and I streamed my same.
I don't know how they be calculating it, cause I did like 50,000 streams and they paid me like $120 or something. So I'm like, shit, that was decent for 50,000 streams. Well, it ain't decent, but fuck, it's more than what they be talking about.
1 million streams. But this year, Spotify is having a bad year. There's been an economic downturn, their sales efforts aren't working, so the pot is only $500. Let's say this year, for my 1 million streams that equate to 10% of the pot, I only get $50. In other words, in the digital streaming world, factors that are completely out of the control of the artist affect what they get per stream. Artists have no control over the total pool. Google what artists make per stream, you would get a range. Somewhere between 0.003 and 0.005 cents for Spotify. The reason you find a range is because artist pay happens on a scale. Spotify has a good year, you get 0.005 cents per stream. If they have a bad year, you get 0.003, 2, or even 1 cent per stream. For perspective, it takes about 350 streams to make 1 penny. Another major way that streaming companies are robbing artists through their deals with the major record labels. The major labels have negotiated better rates per stream with Spotify and other companies. They just leverage their catalog. They say, we have 5,000 artists. If you want those artists, pay us more. And Spotify doesn't exist without the major labels who control the majority of the music business, so of course, Spotify pays more. But this takes money out of the pool that's supposed to be divided with all of the artists on Spotify. That pool of money is a fixed number. Let's say that number that's left over is $10 to be split between artist and label. But let's say the label has the leverage to negotiate a rate of $6 out of the 10 instead of 5. That means they get an extra $1 and I get an extra $1 less, effectively robbing me of my own money. And the partnership between Spotify and the labels goes deeper than that. Remember, in 2018, Spotify was partly owned by Warner Music, Sony, and UMG. On top of this is Playlist Payola, where labels will pay Spotify to place their artists, and they play big dollars. This is extremely harmful because when labels run ads on Spotify, these ads do not attract new subscribers. So there's no new money to be divided amongst artists. So essentially, every time a new ad is run, dollars are being taken out of the same pool. So the label that controls the majority of the ad space controls the majority of the pool. And yes, playlists are classified as ads as well. Labels chance to see how these deals are structured. Spotify paid Sony $25 million in advance for access to the Sony catalog of artists. This created outrage because none of the artists got paid off of this advance. On top of this, Spotify gave Sony $9 million worth of advertising for them to control, further assisting Sony in shrinking the pot for all of the other artists. And it doesn't stop here. Another form of theft. Back in 2008, UMG actually paid for their ownership in Spotify with artist royalty. In other words, they allowed Spotify to pay them less per stream in exchange for equity. Then they sold that equity for almost $1 billion, and of course, no artists were paid in this demonstration. The theft runs deep. On top of this, these streaming companies, which are actually tech companies, are totally unprepared to fight against streaming farms. About $300 million a year is totally unprepared to fight against streaming farms. About $300 million a year is stolen from the pool that's supposed to be divided with artists through streaming farms. And some of these streaming farms have been alleged to be controlled by the record label. By doing this, they control more of their percentage of the payout pool, which is another form of theft because it shrinks the total pool for every other artist gathering their streams organically. And now we have AI. In 2024, Michael Smith was indicted because he generated $10 million with AI songs and AI streams that came directly out of the payout pool. And since Spotify is a tech company, this is actually what we are paying them to stop. And fighting back is almost a waste of time because proving theft in digital streaming is very difficult. Even the MLC, the Mechanical Licensing Collective, which was formed to help regulate streaming and accounting practices and ethics, which is also backed by the United States Copyright Office, filed a lawsuit against Spotify for underpaying royalties to artists in 2024, and that case was dismissed. There's a long list of critical factors that impact what an artist makes from streaming on the bottom line. First is the economy. People aren't making money, they aren't purchasing subscriptions. Streaming services are desperate to attract new subscribers and they lower prices. That pool shrinks and the artists suffer. The invention of the family plan. A subscription is $11.99, but if you do a family plan, it's $6.99 for 6 people, making it about $2.80 a person. The artists suffer. Discounts, free trials, coupon deals. The pool shrinks, the artist suffers. If an artist finds themselves in a situation where they're signed to a major label and they're doing really well as one of their priority artists,
in other words,
they're probably happy and
not making no money out here. In order to make money, they gotta do shows. That's how they getting the majority of their money. But shows starting to slow up too, so that shit starting to look spooky out here for a rapper. That's why they all turning into streamers and want to do content now. You know what I'm saying? Cause they see that's where the money at. That's where everything turning to. Video shit. Don't nobody want to go to no concert and fucking ticket sales getting high and then ain't nobody showing up and the rappers ain't doing nothing when they performing, so it's like the fuck am I going to see? Yeah, I don't know, man. This shit getting out of control though. The rap game about to be in some trouble. It's still money to be made, but there's too many rappers at that. But y'all fucking with it, man. Like, comment, and subscribe. We gonna talk about it.
Don't do it for the bar, just do it for the bar, just do it for the